What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout, and I'm here with Learn to Play Yellow Cooler, the ultimate guide for Yellow Cooler in Fusion World. Super in-depth. If you wish to learn everything about this archetype, this is the video for you. But before we begin this video, huge shout out to the Coffee Club, our lovely patrons. These are our $2 a night patrons. They buy us coffee, they keep this crazy content machine going, and guys, thanks a lot for your support. If you wish to join the Coffee Club, link to our Patreon is in the description below. And I think that's about everything. Roll the video! As with all of our videos, let's start with a breakdown. So I'm gonna give you a brief archetype breakdown. I'll show you some lines of play, some interactions. I'll show you my deck list. We will go over the first 3 turns with this deck, and then we'll just wrap it up with a summary. Let's go! Let's start with our leader on the front, Cooler 15k yellow crit. So the front side is just kinda bad. Like, we don't draw at all, which is just awful. Instead we're 20k crit. Some people like crit leaders, I completely understand it, but I think that they're just ass, and Cooler is probably the worst one. So it really isn't a good trade-off. I believe that it's not, but hey, I could always be wrong. You're always looking to awaken 100% of the time. You wish to see more cards, so we're just looking to awaken as fast as possible. On the awaken side, Cooler is not that great, unfortunately. Yeah, he reads better than he is in practice. Let's read the effect. Activate main/battle, so you can use this effect at any point, either main or battle, and you can use it on your opponent's turn mid-battle as activate battle. Once per turn, you discard 1 card from your hand. Okay, so already a bad start. Choose up to 1 of your battle cards with a specified cost of 4 or less and freeze a clan in its special traits, or 1 of your energy, and switch it to active mode. The battle card Restand is the better part of the ability. There is a very cool combo that we can do later on in the game. I'm gonna show it to you, of course. Energy Restand is awful. Energy Restand is really awful. Let me explain how and why. Let's start with the essentials of Cooler's ability. So it works on either player's turn, that we've established. It works on the opponent's turn as activate battle, and it costs us a card from hand. So we need to discard 1 every time that we want to use it. Although we can use it on either player's turn, we can only use it in battle during our opponent's turn. So restanding blockers is basically useless. It's not completely useless, but you're not going to be blocking with them when you restand them. So they're basically restood for another swing. Because mid-battle you can't just say, hey, I'm blocking now. Let's start with the energy restand. Let's start with the worst one. Alright, so we get to restand 1 energy, right? We're probably gonna be using it for extra cards, because we're not gonna restand an energy to play a 1-drop. That's not happening. These are our extra cards, and only the last 2 work during our opponent's turn. Only the last 2. So, Armored Squadron, Supernova Crusher Ball, we can use them only during our turn, where you would then just rather use them, rather than discard a card to restand an energy. The other 2, Body Change and Dead Ball, we can use them during our opponent's turn. However, you'd never discard 1 to pay for any of these cards, rather than just paying for them. The problem is when you discard 1 to use an extra card from hand, you're losing 2 cards from hand. Because you're discarding 1 to restand and then you're spending another card from hand. You would rather just leave an energy open to use it and just lose 1. The only one that draws, the only card out of these ones that draws, because draw is okay, because we get to replace the card that we spent, is the Armored Squadron one. And that one is a free play anyway. So no reason to use it with the ability. The worst part of the ability is that you're losing 2 cards from hand. So here's the brief breakdown. Let's say you want to use your ability. You need to discard 1. So let's say you discard a pool and then you say like, okay, I want to restand an energy so that I can play that ball. Then you play that ball and your hand size went down by 2 because you discarded 1, which is usually combo power. So why would you discard combo power and then you're spending 1 energy on another card from hand which doesn't replace itself because it doesn't draw, so you just kind of went down by 2 cards. That's the worst part of the ability. Now you might be saying, well, what if I want to use the ability to restand an energy so that I can play an additional battle card? You don't want to do that. Like, that's even worse, because here's what it does. Basically, discard 1, restand and pay 1 allows you to play 1 drop, which isn't worth discarding a card, or you can play, let's say, a 2 drop, depending on the energy that you have to use, but then you're already downplaying, because if you wish to play anything that costs more than 1, that means that you haven't spent all of your energy to play a card on curve, so you're still losing, you're just losing 1 extra card from hand. So other than maybe Banan is great. Banan is an awesome card because he allows you to restand something. There are no cheap yellow battle cards worth trying to cheat out with this ability, and even then the battle card restand accomplishes much more. The restand is phenomenal. Now let's talk about the better ability, the battle card restand one. So the ability is actually decent, though it only has 2 good cases. Only 2 very similar cases, Cooler and Frieza, where it is actually good. It's very, very limited use, but it's very strong once used. Other cards, besides these 2, you don't really want to restand them. I mean, you can, but you don't get as much value as you get with Cooler and Frieza. Cooler and Frieza are insane. Important thing to point out is, though you can use both of them on turn 4 and you can restand them on turn 4, they're better on turn 5. They're much better on turn 5. So on turn 5, you can play Frieza, and you have 1 energy opened. So you can do your normal attack with Frieza, swing 40, then you use your leader's ability to restand him and you get the second attack, and then you spend the less energy for body change, you restand him again, and then you attack for the 3rd time. Here's a breakdown of this. So you're on 5 energy, you pay 4, you play the Frieza, you have 1 energy left. You attack 40k, attack resolves. Then you use your leader's activate main, you discard a card, you restand Frieza, you attack for the 2nd time, attack resolves, and then you pay, with your last energy, to use body change, activate main. You choose a card, let's say you choose this guy. You switch into rest mode, and now you choose the other card that you're gonna restand. You restand Frieza, and then you attack 40k for the 3rd time. So triple 40k attack on turn 5. No other deck can pull this off other than Cooler. And that's the one big thing that the deck has going for it. Lastly, let's talk about Cooler's Armored Squadron. So, are they any good? Is running Cooler's Armored Squadron worth it? Not really. I mean, in the deck build that I'm gonna show you, we're gonna go with the Cooler's Armored Squadron because I want to show you the archetype itself. But it's not really that good. Like, the only thing that they have going for them is that they're 10k combo power cards. Each and every one of them, and this is the best one, because that's the Self-Awakener. Besides that, even with the extra card, which is a free draw 1, it's still kinda meh. Like, they're not that good, they're not really worth it, but they are cute, you know. You can play the archetype, and it won't feel as bad as if you were playing Goku Black archetype, for example. Here is the deck list. It was built on Deck Planet. Link to Deck Planet is in the description below. Guys, it is the best site for checking out Fusion World cards, for building decks, and for checking out the decks of others. Like, you don't need to go anywhere further. Deck Planet. or Top Deck Diffusion. Both of these are phenomenal websites for stuff like this. Anyways, guys, this is the deck list that we will be using. It's archetype heavy on purpose, because I want to give you guys who wish to play Armored Squadron some sort of a deck. Now, let's check out the mulligan. The mulligan is pretty simple, so 1, 2, 4. We don't necessarily need 3, we can go with a free cost in the mulligan. But basically, make sure that you have something to do turn 1. Get yourself Awakener. You must mulligan for these. Mulligan for more of them if you need to. You need to awaken ASAP. And let's say we're gonna keep the Frieza so that we can have it for late game. In this part of the video, we're gonna go over your turns 1, 2, and 3 with this deck. Now that you know the basics, it's time to check out how to play the deck. We'll be going over the first 3 turns, and as always, we'll be using the provided deck list. We are assuming that you went first and that you have kept the show mulligan. Alright, let's see what this deck can do. Turn 1, the usual setup. This is our standard turn 1, so we start charge 1, pay 1. Let's say we play Sorbet, we draw a card, and then we just pass the turn. Like, there's really not much else to do on turn 1. Turn 2, playing our first Self-Awakener. Okay, so we start the turn, we charge 1, draw 1, we pay 2, 4 knees, we take a life, and then we attack. Let's say that Sorbet is still around, so we just combo. We can combo both with Sorbet and knees for plus 15. We're now 35k crit attacker. Attack resolves and we pass the turn. Now you might be wondering, why do you combo with knees as well? We don't care for blocking. We want to take damage, to awaken as fast as possible. So this is just an offensive 10k combo for us once we get a life. You can use him to block, but we really don't want to get stuck on this shitty front side, so we just use it to guarantee crit damage. Turn 3. Hopefully, we finally get to awaken. Okay, so we start the turn, charge 1, draw 1, we pay 3, and let's say we play Salsa. So in this turn I'm gonna show you what the cooler Armored Squadron play looks like. You use Salsa's activate main, you switch him to rest mode so that you can play an Armored Squadron from hand. You play Dora and you restand Salsa. Let's say that you don't have a different target. Let's not be too positive about it. So let's say you don't have a different target. Now you get to awaken. Let's say that you're on 4. You get to awaken, you draw 1. You attack, the attack resolves. Then you attack with Dora, the attack resolves. And then you attack with Salsa. And the attack resolves, and then you pass the turn. If you had a different Armored Squadron card, you could have used Salsa's activate main to rest it and to play a different card. Let's say a knees, another one, to take life if you're not on 4, and then you just attack with knees instead of attacking with Salsa as the last card. That's turn 3. Before I jump into the summary, we need to talk about the big issue with coolers. So the main issue is that what we have shown you is what your turns might look like if you're lucky. But you don't draw with this leader. So unfortunately, because critical leaders are awful and Cooler doesn't have any way to take his own lives faster, we can just get stuck and our first couple of turns won't look like this. Yeah, out of all crit leaders, this is probably the worst one. The other ones have some sort of a payoff. Goku Black is insane. As long as you don't awaken, Goku Black is insane. His archetype is garbage, but he himself as a blue crit leader is phenomenal. Mostly thanks to Pilaf. Beerus is amazing once Beerus awakens, but Cooler is just kinda... yeah, like, it's not the best. Even with our examples, you might still completely break with your limited draws and lose anyway. So that's the problem with crit leaders, but by now everyone who has been to the channel knows how much I hate crit leaders, so it's kinda biased talking. We'll see. Before we end the video, let's quickly jump into the summary. Cooler is really bad. Like, really, really bad. The Awaken side is amazing, but only because of the Restand. But being a crit leader in yellow, probably the worst color to be a crit leader in, a color which doesn't have a way to quickly awaken you, it doesn't have a fast way to self-awaken, is really detrimental. Like, Goku Black has the Pilaf loop, right? So you can have a 30k crit leader every single turn. That's awesome. You don't want to awaken once you can start doing that. Beerus doesn't have that good self-awakeners, but Rosh is phenomenal in Beerus, and Beerus is really strong once he gets to awaken, but Cooler is just kinda ass. He doesn't have any of the upsides that the other two colors have. So I wouldn't recommend playing this one. I think it's awful. I think it's really, really bad. Hopefully I'm wrong on this one. Hopefully I'm wrong. So for now, at least in set 1, I wouldn't be playing Cooler. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below. Will you give Cooler a go? Why? Let me know in the comments. I really dislike this one. I think this is the only archetype in set 1 that I actively dislike. That I don't think that this is any good at all. But let me know in the comments. I read all of your comments. I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And guys, while you're here, share the video, hit those like and subscribe buttons. Help us get to 4K subs when I'm gonna give away a booster box. This has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.